So there have been some developments in the Johnathan Majors case, and racial bias is the theme of the topic. Let's talk about it on this episode of Heinz Report. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I go by the name of Dr. Heinz, and thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Heinz Report. Before we begin the video, I just want to disclaim that I am not a lawyer, nor am I offering any legal advice in any capacity. I am just a layman that is offering his takes and who has an avid interest in the law. Let's get into the video. Now, it has been no secret that we've been covering Johnathan Majors on this channel. For those that want that comprehensive update, do click the tile card above. It has all the playlists, but I will be going back over it in this video. So if you do not want that comprehensive update, you can always stick around to the very end, where I recap and bring together all the information based on what we have seen so far. But for this episode, we are going to talk about specifically what the media has been reporting in this case, because that's literally all I could find, just the media reporting. I have not been able to access the court documents, or seen the complaints or anything like that. So I don't have the original first-hand source. From the reports that I'm seeing, which we're going to dive into right now, the first one being the NME article that has basically listed out what happened with the Johnathan Majors case appearance in court. It says that he appeared in court via Zoom regarding the case. Judge Rachel S. Parley is presiding over the case and discuss the motion filed by by Majors Team Defense. I have not seen that motion. I have not heard the arguments in regards to that motion, but there have been statements released, which we're going to go into as well. The prosecution have until May 23rd to respond to the motion. Majors Team will then have until May 31st to respond back. Those days are very important because it just shows that this was just a hearing for the defense to bring their case, and then the prosecution and then the defense will have a chance to respond to the prosecution, and from there the judge is going to decide whether this is going to go to a grand jury or not, basically, or whether he's going to have the charges dismissed, etc. Now, it is very important to note that if the prosecution doesn't even respond or just chooses not to pursue the case, it's over from there. Moving on, Majors is set to appear in court on June 13th when a decision will be made regarding his defense team motion. The actor was warned that failure to show up in court in person could result in a warrant for his arrest. So it's no longer going to be a virtual Zoom appearance like he did on this occasion. I obviously don't want that to happen, so just stay in touch. The judge told Majors legal team has denied any wrongdoing on his behalf and has released text messages and videos that are intended to prove the actor's innocence. Again, there's nothing here that shows what was actually being discussed in regards to Johnathan Majors in court, or what his attorney had to say. However, earlier articles were published, and this was by the Daily Beast and Deadline, and they provided a lot more context in regards to what was going on in the courtroom, what the defense was arguing. It's very interesting what happened in the courtroom when Daily Beast reported this. The Daily Beast was basically saying Majors faces misdemeanor charges of assault in the 3rd degree, aggravated assault in the 2nd degree, attempted assault in the 3rd degree, and harassment in the 2nd degree. After the brief hearing, Majors lawyer Priya Chaudhary stressed in a statement to the Daily Beast that her client is innocent, and insisted that the case is a witch hunt against Johnathan Majors driven by baseless claims. Instead of dismissing the allegations in the face of the woman's clear lies, the DA has adjusted the charges to match the woman's new lies. That's interesting. That is interesting. The lawyer then argued that Majors was the true victim of the night of the assault. She alleged that when Majors showed the responding officer his injuries in the night of the incident, the officer got into the actor's face and taunted him, saying that if the officer were to slap Mr. Majors, the officer wouldn't break his finger. Wow. Okay. None of the white officers present investigated the assault of Majors. Worse, the district attorney has not indicated any intention to pursue charges against the woman or even investigate the truth, the lawyer stated. This glaring double standard between the treatment of Majors, a black man weighing 200 pounds, and his accuser highlights the racial bias that permeates the criminal justice system. Chaudhry have provided no further details that his alleged officer-related incidents, and the district attorney office declined to comment. So before offering my commentary on this article, I'm gonna go straight into the Deadline article to get a bigger picture of what really happened. Let's see what they have to say. Johnathan Majors facing witch hunt, lawyer says of domestic violence case. Actor appeared virtually in court today, back next month. Johnathan Majors could be in prison for up to a year if found guilty of a charge unveiled this morning in his domestic violence case. I will say this, it's unlikely that he's going to get the maximum sentence for this, because that is really reserved for reoffenders or someone that has had a history of prior criminal activity. That's not the case with Majors. He might get probation at best, if I'm being honest, because he has actually had no history. His history in cases like this is pretty spotless. At the same time, the attorney today slammed proceedings as a byproduct of the racial bias that permeates the criminal justice system. Today's swift status conference, that's all it was, at the Manhattan Criminal Court comes 6 weeks after the magazine Dream star was arrested by the MPD for domestic violence. Barely visible to the gallery on the screens facing away from the seat, Majors did not enter a plea to the new charge. In fact, dressed in a beige shirt and against a pale white background on screen, Majors had little to say to Tuesday beyond "yes ma'am" to Judge Rachel S. Powley. The next hearing for the matter is set for June 13th. The judge told Majors he has to appear in person for that. Says, "I'm required to inform you that, as you know, if you fail to appear in court in June 13th, a warrant can be issued for your arrest within 48 hours. And if brought back on the warrant, the judge can revoke and even set bail. I obviously don't want that to happen." Additionally, Judge Powley reminded the conference in Majors that he must abide by the order protection barring him from any contact with the woman in question. Outside of court today, Majors' lawyer Priya was blistering in our assessment of the DA's case. "We have provided the district attorney with irrefutable evidence that the woman is lying, including video proof showing nothing happened, especially not where she claimed," the lawyer said. "We did this with the explicit promise from the DA that they would not fix their case and change it as we prove the woman is lying. This is a witch hunt against Majors driven by baseless claims." I think this is key, and I'm going to explain why in a bit. Chaudhry went on to say, citing a glaring double standard in a statement to Deadline, instead of dismissing the allegations in the face of the woman's clear lies, the DA had adjusted the charges to match the woman's new lies. To be clear, there are no new charges against Mr. Majors. Without providing any details, she added, "Now we have obtained even more video evidence of his innocence. Please let this one stick, because you've said that so many times now. But we are hesitant to share it for the fear DA would tip the woman off to change her story again." I'll get to that. The criminal justice system is saturated with explicit bias and implicit bias. When Majors showed a white police officer the injuries the woman caused him, the white officer got in Majors' face and taunted him, saying that if the officer were to slap Mr. Majors, the officer wouldn't break his finger. None of the white officers present investigated the assault of Mr. Majors. Worse, the district attorney has not indicated any intention to pursue charges against the woman or even investigate the truth. In the time between his arrest on March 25th and today, Majors' previously high-flying career trajectory has been on a tailspin. But yeah, I will go to this part here. What is on the public record is a complaint from the DA's office on Majors on March 25th of striking a woman about the face with an open hand, causing substantial pain and a laceration behind the ear. Behind the ear. We've reported that on this channel. Behind the ear. There is no specificity there or anything like that in what the NYPD later called a domestic dispute. Majors allegedly forcefully took the woman's hands, causing swelling, bruising, and substantial pain to her finger, and supposedly put his hand on her neck. In the superseding information submitted today, the neck reference is gone, but the DA's paperwork now also said, I further observed that the defendant grabbed my right arm, placed it behind my body, and used his hands to twist my right forearm and right middle finger, causing substantial pain to my right forearm and right middle finger. Citing text messages and security camera footage from the end of March, Major's lawyer Chowdhury has reiterated her client's initial not guilty plea and insisted that he is the victim here, not the aggressor. It has been confirmed by law enforcement that it's Majors who called 911 on the night of the incident. Late last month, Majors' team agreed to a full temporary order of protection, which was mentioned above, being granted for the woman in question from the March 25th incident. This is the standard in cases such as this, and we consented because Mr. Majors wants nothing to do with the woman who assaulted him. Chowdhury told Deadline on April 27th, like today, the lawyer has previously criticized the NYPD officers on the scene that night at Majors' apartment. Chowdhury claims the cops were coaching the alleged victim to accuse Mr. Majors of assault, even pantomiming what she should say. Whether that comes up in a motion the defense filed today to be discussed next month's hearing remains to be seen. All of these things, as I said, all these things, they have to put it all into a motion and submit it for the record. The DA has not commented, which is, to me, that's the only thing that I found strange, because the fact that the lawyer has gone on to say that they actually did promise them that they wouldn't fix if they were to release any of this evidence, and they have gone on to get an update, complaint, etc. And they don't comment in regards to that, does strike me as a bit odd. But I do want to address the elephant in the room before recapping this case. I do want to say, if they are now going to claim racial bias, all these things, it's all well and good to claim something like that, but it is a if I'm being honest with you, it is a sinking ship plea. It is something that hopefully they're not building their case on. I'll be very honest, in the court of public opinion, when this news broke, it wasn't favorable. And it's not like I don't understand. A lot of people are getting sick and tired of hearing, in my opinion, everything about race, everything about XYZ. And when it broke onto Bounding Into Comics, which reports on things like this, the comment section was basically, it was done. All of this is basically just saying that that it's not helping Majors in any way. I think this comment here said, did he not forget Johnny Depp was quickly fired after Amber Heard threw accusations against him? And yeah, that's true. I don't think that's a good look for Majors in the long run. The justice system made me do it, allegedly. These comments are funny. And I think this one, Smalley will sue him again for plagiarism, allegedly. I'm so dead. Same attorney who leaked his girl's damning text message. Again, I'm going to go right back into this, because when you know the context behind this entire case, you see the people that are in those comment sections have already made up their mind in regards to the case. The retort from the officer, if true, does seem a bit strange. I'm not going to deny that, because he's supposed to be impartial. But again, in a way, it does reveal some kind of bias, because they wouldn't say that if the man's hands, if Major's hands was to be one, they weren't broken, and the woman is claiming that he assaulted her, they guarantee she will not get that. So I see the angle they're trying to work with, but it's just not going to go over well. To bring a sense of realism into this case, a bit of reality to this case, ABC brought in a criminal defense attorney to bring her perspective on this case, and here it is. Take a look.
Bernarda, Major's attorney says they have provided irrefutable evidence, that's a quote, to the district attorney, that the charges are false and that they're confident he will be fully exonerated here. What are you watching for in court today?
Well, I want to see what the prosecution has decided based on what the defense has provided. I've done dozens of criminal domestic violence cases on the prosecution side as well as on the defense side, and even in cases where there are false allegations. And you present that evidence to the prosecution, and the prosecution does an evaluation and investigation to determine whether the credibility of this victim, of this complainant, is something that you can move forward with, and in the interest of justice, whether it needs to be dismissed because the case cannot be proven. But again, today is key to know at what stage, what point is the prosecution with, because the case is in jeopardy of being dismissed if they're not ready within the next month or so.
Personally, I think that was very interesting because, again, we haven't heard anything from the prosecutors. We have already seen the fact that they have already updated their complaints and changed their story, so to speak, from what has been reported. That has to be highlighted, because the one person that I haven't seen change their story in any way is Johnathan Majors. And we're going to go right back to the day of the arrest, March 25th, and go through this chronological order to where we are today. As we can see, he started off with the arrest. He's done nothing wrong, and the time is there. He was arrested at 11 a.m. Keep an eye on that time. 11 a.m. was the time of arrest, PT time, Eastern time, which is New York time. It says here, we were told that the alleged victim, in this case a female, relayed to the officers that Majors had gotten into a dispute with her and proceeded to attack her. Their exact relationship is not known. Sources tell us alleged victim had visible injuries, including laceration behind her ear, which is not specified. That has to be said. Redness and marks on her face. She was taken to an area hospital and is in stable condition. As for Majors, he was cuffed and taken to jail on the spot, as police felt there was enough evidence for probable cause. We are hearing currently out of custody, and that was basically the story. Now, what's interesting to note there is no specificity of where the injury is. But I have read that the injury was, according to the reports, it was to her right here. The reason why that's interesting to me, because Priya has, in my opinion, I mean, I know lawyers do have a bad rap. I'm not defending lawyers in any way, saying that they're not deceitful or will not do anything to defend their client. I actually agree with that. I actually understand that sentiment. But we have to place caution here, because when the video was leaked, when the body cam video was released to TMZ, you could visibly see her face. There was no more redness or anything like that. The updated complaint reflects conveniently that this was, the right here, and the right here was obscured in the camera. So putting two and two together, I do understand why Priya may go for the race car. I personally wouldn't. I would just leave it behind and just try this case for what it is. But the way she has approached this case, I can see why she's a bit passionate defending Johnathan Majors, because she actually does believe this. If we go from the day of the arrest, because this was in the morning, remember that time, 11 a.m., March 25th. This was in the morning. So if we go from that to the next report that was by TMZ of when the text messages was leaked to them by the Johnathan Majors' lawyer, they were basically saying that, hey, Johnathan Majors says she has receipts regarding the assault claims against her, texts in which alleged victim admits she has to blame and says she doesn't want the actor prosecuted. But we've gone through this again. Look at the timestamps, 8:58. This is 2 hours before the arrest. In the texts, Chaudhry claims that the woman she says how angry she was that Johnathan had been handcuffed, and said she'll make sure nothing of this happened. I told him it was my fault for trying to grab the phone. That was basically it for that. As we know, social media went into a frenzy, and then the next leak was her going into the nightclub, and this was very interesting because this was the only piece of evidence that corroborates and basically brings together all of this. Basically says video witness proof I didn't strike XGF. This was on the 19th, and this was before the video dropped, so we only had screen grabs of what was in this security footage. Here it says here, Priya's Johnathan's attorney Priya filed docs Wednesday in Manhattan, informing the court that the driver witnessed what went down between Johnathan and the woman back in March. According to the docs obtained by TMZ, the driver saw the woman assault Majors around 1 a.m. on March 25th while she was attempting to steal his phone. This was around 1 a.m. Keep an eye on that time. Further, the Creed star says the driver will testify that he never struck the alleged victim in any way at any time or even raised his voice. Majors and his attorney also say the driver saw her hitting, scratching and attacking Johnathan, and that Johnathan asked the driver to stop the car so that he could escape her attack, which he did. This is important because, again, is laying down the foundation that, hey, that's why they even separated. She says the hours of security videos showing the woman clubbing and got drunk after Majors left her in the car. And she also texted him, accusing him of infidelity and threatening suicide. As for what happened while she was at a club, Majors court files includes screenshots of security videos showing the woman freely using her right hand, where she claimed Majors had injured. That was key. That is key, because if you remember in the updated complaint, she says her arm was twisted up, etc. And in the original report, if you remember how it's reported, she was rushed to hospital straight away. But now we're saying no, times have elapsed. Remember 11 a.m., like I said, remember the text sent at 8:28 a.m. asking for the keys. Those, I hope you guys picked up on that, because he was asking, where are the keys? Goodbye. Those were the texts. In the videos, they say she casually pushes her hair behind her right here, reaches into her bag several times, sorts through credit cards, handles phones, holds a menu, and easily holds a glass of champagne. This does actually provide a lot of context, and based on what everything that's being changed around now in her story and everything, it still doesn't, in my opinion, go to say that this is false, because for what you are alleging that he done to your arm and finger, that you would require, especially for someone of Major's stature, you would require at least some form of treatment before you can go out and do anything. They claim that she showed up at Major's house at 3:23 a.m., entered his apartment and called there 2 times, sent angry and several angry, jealous text messages. Majors was not home when she got there. Note the time, 3:23. They say Majors got home at 11:13 a.m. and found out unconscious and half naked on the floor of his walk-in closet. He also discovered she allegedly threw up on his bed and told him she had taken a few sleeping tablets. Majors then called 911 and claimed when the paramedics arrived that the woman already told them, I don't know what, when asked what happened to her. Again, like I said, this is the police body cam footage. Again, look at the time, 11:48. This is when, I believe this is the bedroom, if I am not mistaken. It looks like the bedroom. It looks like as how it was being told by Majors. Majors must have also been on the scene, because clearly he was arrested and taken away. So he must have been on the scene when this has happened. Again, like I said, there's no redness, there's no marks, it's right there. But you can see this is my right ear. You can see that it will be on your left side if you're facing me. This is her facing, kind of, not me, but adjacent. That's not our right here. That's our left ear. That's looking If she was to look this way, it would be her left. So the right here is obscured. Again, I keep saying keep an eye on that, because what is being alleged now is the right ear had the lacerations. Like I said in the previous video, Johnathan Majors was not even in the club with her at all of that time. So it seems, and they know this, and I'm sure they know this, because it corroborates with what the defense is trying to say and what case they're trying to present. But because people have made up their mind, they will stick on whatever they have, and they're not going to admit, oops. This is just why I prefer to have all the evidence come in and I evaluate and be like, yeah, okay, based on this, I do think he did it, but I am waiting for the counter evidence, and I'm still waiting for the counter evidence till today, because of the pure fact that, hey, I could be wrong again. There could be overwhelming evidence for the woman that comes in and just knocks all of this out of the water. If she wasn't at Major's house at the time, like at 3 a.m. as they have claimed, but she went home, that's, again, that would be so convincing that you cannot be like, oh, but no, there's nothing more I have to say. I am going to do a reaction to the racism angle in all of this, because I think, I don't know, I kind of don't want to do it, because I don't want it to be that type of case. There is bias, but it's just, I will say this, it's just convenient how we see police on black violence, you know, police killings, all of these things, we see it, and then we're like, oh, the police is all of these things, all of this, this and that. And then we see a case like this, and we're not consistent. And the reason why I say it's not consistent is because it's as if they have to choose between two poisons. Do we believe the victim, or do we go against the police and say they're wrong? And then, you know, it's like choosing between, and I'm not saying the victim is poison here, but I'm saying this should have been the perfect opportunity where everyone is like, you know what, let's actually wait, because there are two things that is being challenged in front of us, which is, are the police, you know, possibly biased here? Because this is a black man, and they don't like black people because of, based on the narrative that they've done with George Floyd, all of that. Based on that, they're like, okay, hold on, I'm going to reserve a bit, because what's actually going on here based on these sexes or something like that. And based on the video evidence that came out, all this evidence that's come out, it should have been a bit of caution, but that's not what happened. They actually turned out to be like, oh, they're playing the race card against the police, and now all of a sudden they're making it seem like they don't have a case anymore, and the police must be in the right, when they're saying that, hey, the same bias, the same institutional racist bias that you guys have been preaching for the past 4, 5, I don't know, whenever George Floyd died, all of these times, and it's now out of the window. It's as if, oh, they're now noble angels again. And this is not even me commenting and saying, oh, they are this or they're not this. I'm just pointing out something that is really interesting on how people are flip-flopping over this, because to me it's maddening that people cannot just look at the facts of the case and be like, there is no way you can conclude a case as sensitive as this in literally just a matter of weeks. Like, not even weeks, days almost. Like I've said, I just want to wait for the evidence. They said they've got texts and video. The video that they're probably referencing is probably the taxi cab video, but again, they're saying that we're not going to release that because we don't want them to change their story, and they have a bit of merit there because they have changed their story, as I've shown. I want to see whatever video that they have here, and I also want to see the body cam. I want to see the texts that was sent to Majors from 3 a.m. because that would just seal the case for me. But if they have all of this, I can't wait for June 13th. And I need to track down all this evidence. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in for this episode of the Heinz Report. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. On the last video, we reached over 500 plus views. I did not expect that in 5 days of upload. Thank you for watching and sharing the videos. If you've made this far, thank you so much for giving me your time, even if you like the video, even if you did not like the video. I appreciate you for giving me your time and watching this episode of the Heinz Report. Take care of yourself. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Share this video with your mates. And once again, thank you so much if you've made this far, and hopefully you have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.